Hey guys, all right, and welcome everybody to Rick Snider's Washington on YouTube, where you get the whole stories. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the thanks button. I figure Steve's the first one up. There you go, Steve. I always say most of you watch on replay. More than half I'd say half the total numbers are on replay, half are live. So I always start with that because that makes the algorithm happy, and then we can talk about Washington Commanders or anything else that you guys want to talk about. The line forms after Steve because he's always first. And here we go. I'm just trying to get things ready to go here. Got a lot to talk about. Good and bad. But we're still here. We'll be here for the next hour or so. Steve, you got a question before we start? I am a few minutes ahead of schedule. Just so excited. Must be the Christmas spirit. Oh, no. Yeah, yes, it is Carson for now. Yeah, I think we're. Ron Rivera would not say after the game who was going to be the quarterback. He said they wanted to look at the tape on Monday and then probably decide on Tuesday. Will he say publicly Tuesday? I don't know. Might wait till Wednesday. Why give Cleveland an extra day to know what's going on? But yeah, he's got to be Carson, I would think. So. Yeah, I think it's Carson. The rest of the way is only 2 games. So we'll see. All right, let's see. Chat room filling up yet? No, everybody's late. Well, actually, I'm early, so I can't complain. Does it matter, Michael? Probably not. Yeah, that's one way to look at it. I don't think so. It's just one of those things. Another one of these years. If they lose out, they would go. What is that? 1-4-1. Yeah, they would go 0-4-1 the last 5 games. If they did that after last year losing the last 5, they had that midseason hit both years. Seriously, you'd have to worry about the coaching staff. I think there's a lot going on with all that. So, okay, just let Paul wait for time. Somebody dropped out already. Man, you don't get to have any of these fabulous peanuts I'm going to talk about in a minute. And I'm going to get to see one of my presents. Who wears it better? Me or Digger on Moonshiners? I'm trying to decide. I got to get an insert. It's a little big. Christmas present. So my grandfather was a moonshiner, so in Carolina. It wasn't everybody's. So if you were a farmer in Carolina back in the Great Depression time, you were a moonshiner on the side. It's the only way you made any cash. Back then. He didn't leave me a still, though. But we'll see. All right. Like I says, please just give us a new owner, a new front office, a new head coach, a new stadium, a new name, and a new mascot. It's not a hog. That all you want? Jeez. Why didn't you say so? Steve, no, I didn't race cars. Unless you're calling about running from the cops on that. I've heard about the white lightning, but I've never had any of my families. But most of them are gone now, so I don't know. All right, we got a few people here. All right, so welcome to the show. It's 7:59. There you go. We started a minute early. What the heck? All right, everybody, welcome to the show. Big announcement in some respects. I've been begging you guys for tips on the thanks button, and I hated doing it, but I felt like I needed to do something to generate some cash as far as doing a live show. So, we did. We decided to go to a charity last couple of weeks. Between all of y'all, we raised a couple $100 for the local food bank and for the Toys for Tots program. But what I'm going to do from every Monday now on is just make a different charity the recipient of it. And as you can see behind me, I'm still working on my background, but we're getting there. DC Paws Rescue, which is a great DC charity. I'm looking for charities in DC. And if you want to recommend somebody, that's fine. But I want somebody who's small, that even if we donate $50 off the show, it helps. And it's not sucked into some kind of big administration fees or some big company. It doesn't matter. It's got to be a DC charity or DC area charity. And I'll pick somebody different all the time. So I thought I'd try dogs. I had a Rescue League dog for 12 years. He was awesome. So they're well worth helping out. All right, that was my big announcement. Does anybody give a blank about the mascot stuff, says Steve? Yeah, that was really funny today because I wrote, okay, they're going to either say it's a hog or a dog on Sunday, show the new mascot. 2 minutes later, ding, here's an announcement. the old hogs are bad. They don't want Snyder to use the name. They claim they got a trademark, and they want to sue if he wants to use it. What? I mean, wow. I was like, okay, everybody jump on this train. Can they win? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Some of you out there might be, but I have a feeling they can't really win in the real court. Now, in the court of public opinion, yeah, the Hogs would win. So I don't know. Does that scare them from using a hog as a mascot now? Do they say, let's hold up? I don't know. I do know that the team was in negotiations with somebody about a deal. And when the deal came out that Snyder was looking to sell, the talks stopped. So I think they're all getting ready for a transition of some sort. Could they stop on the hogs? Yeah. Or maybe they make it a dog all of a sudden and say, oh, it was always going to be a dog. I mean, these people, man, it's just weird. Seth asked, does Zuckerberg buy the team? Not that I've heard about that. I mean, it's still Bezos. One of the bidders ended up taking the Phoenix Suns and stuff this week, so he's out of it. But there's still 3-4. I know everybody saw this tweet out there that Forbes magazine tweets, which just means Dan Snyder talks to Forbes. That's where that's coming from, my opinion. I don't know for a fact, but my opinion. That's a direct Dan Snyder. It says multiple people well north of 7 billion, I should say. Well, that's all in the interest of the owner saying that kind of thing. I don't know if it's true or not. And of course, Forbes had nothing to back it up with. But, you know, they have you've seen Snyder talk to Forbes before. So we'll see. We'll see. I think we're a little ways away from knowing what's going on. Yeah, Mike was right about that. Dan's hand feeding that information on there. All right, so we can talk about Christmas for a minute while everybody's filing in the room. And I did a video earlier today. This is one of my presents, a Virginia peanuts with Old Bay. And I thought, okay, I love Old Bay. I'm a Marylander. I'm loyal to Old Bay. I like Virginia peanuts too. If anybody can tell me how they boil peanuts down, like in Virginia and Carolina, it says boil peanuts with seasoning. Well, if they're in the shell, how does that work? I really am interested to see. All right, anyway, here's Old Bay on the peanuts. You can't really smell it so much, but I tell you what, you can taste it really quick. I mean, it's not an explosion in your mouth, but they're good. If you want to try peanuts with a little bit of kick to them, I don't get paid for this, but Virginia Diner, whoever they are, I don't know. And who I know bought it in Maryland. So that was one of my Christmas presents. My wife doesn't like spice. I said, here, you want to try some peanuts? she took off, get a drink after biting them. She wasn't real happy with me. Oh, what the heck. We just did our 42nd wedding anniversary, so she stuck with me. And one of my hat. I got this from one of my daughters. I'm trying to decide. My family was moonshiners way back. And if you watch moonshiners on TV, Digger, he always wears these hats. I was trying to decide who wears it better, me or Digger. It's a little big. I got to put a headband in it. But eventually. But I don't know. Seems like I've lost some hair. So maybe something to keep the shine off. All right, that was my Christmas presents. I don't know what else you guys got. I saw the game. I didn't really cover it. I just watched it because I was doing holiday stuff. And I didn't have a client on deadline, so in there. But I picked them, San Francisco to win by 17. And I was on the radio saying Wentz would finish the game. Both things came true. The only thing that surprised me was 7.5. I thought San Francisco would be a little more ahead. Other than that, they pretty much did what I thought. Okay, Abdul says, oh, big fan. Thanks, Abdul. When do you think the team will actually be sold? Going to take a little while because, I mean, they may have an agreement in January, February. And then you got to go through the NFL committees and then an NFL vote. Let's just say if it's Bezos, it goes quicker. And I know people say, well, Dan hates Bezos. He won't sell him. It's all about the money, man. So it doesn't matter what your name is. So I don't know. I think overall, I still think it'll be a few months easily. The last time it took longer because the bidder, my guy named Milstein, kept listening to the NFL tell him, you've got to put more equity up in your bid. And he said, oh, yeah, and he stalled him for months thinking he could wait him out, and he couldn't. Well, that held up the process a long time. And Dan didn't get the team until he stepped up after Milstein got knocked out, and that was in June. So it will be June again like this time? Maybe. I think it'll take a little longer. So that said, I don't know that you can change your coaching staffs and all by then. You wouldn't change your front office because their contracts are tied to the draft. So that wouldn't happen. Woo, man, what happened there? My nose on straight. So with the scouting department, their contracts are tied to after the draft because you don't want to lose them in February. You can lose your coaches and all, but the staff's been working all year on the draft. You keep them to the draft if you trust them. And then everybody goes their own ways. So it wouldn't impact the draft so much. Now, free agency would a little bit more. I mean, those scouts, they have pro scouts too, who actually scout the other NFL teams looking for free agents and people to pick up. So there's really two coaching, scouting staffs on that. All right, favorite game this weekend, asked Nick. God, I saw very little in the end. So I don't really have one, sorry. I didn't see anything on Christmas because I don't work Christmas Day. Christmas and Easter, 2 days a year I do not work. That's about the only two I don't work sometimes, but so I didn't see a whole lot of it all. Okay, Peter, do I think this coaching staff is going anywhere? Yeah, I don't know. I think they might make a OC or a DC move, maybe. But sometimes you can draw up plays. The guy's got to perform, and this O-line is not performing, and it'll wreck any kind of call you make. Marcus, I watched the game. They were more physical, okay, but not on that level. See, I wrote about it too. The San Francisco game was a really good preview of the playoffs. Should Washington manage to get to the playoffs, that's the kind of team you're going to have to play. And that's why they're not going to last long, probably. So you notice the Brown, a lot of other teams lost. So I don't know that I think it was a good insight into what we could see the postseason be. Steve, I think Curl will likely play against the Browns. Some I want to say is no, but we really won't know anything till Tuesday, or Wednesday, Tuesday, I guess. Ron talks to the press on Tuesday this week, and usually they flipped it because of the way the schedule went. So I think they'll probably really announce more of that on Wednesday. We'll see if he's on the field. Something tells me no on there. Michael says Stevie Wonder could draft as well as they do. Well, Stevie Wonder has an eye for talent. So what I loved about Stevie Wonder, he's a great singer. I loved how he played the harmonica. God, he was good at doing that. And he's still alive, so I shouldn't use past tense. The Wovo's back. Okay, I'm still stunned that Dax Mills returning kicks. Yeah, me too. Come on. This staff is slow to make changes like that. I'd say Gibson, you're up, or go find some fast guy. I don't know if De'Ami Brown can return kickoffs. Probably. Most guys can return kickoffs. It's the punts that are the harder one. Because kickoffs, you got guys that are still 20 yards away from you to get the ball. Punt, you got a guy right there and standing in front of you, yelling at you, ready to knock you down. That's a much tougher job. That's why B. Mitch was the toughest guy on the field. Let's see. IRL is dead. I don't even know what that means, but okay. Season's over. No quarterback. New ownership means another down year or two. Aimless wandering. If you're lucky, it's a year or two. To see who the new owner is. Does he think he knows everything like Dan? It could take 20 years of wandering. I don't know. No one from Tampa. What offensive line should they draft for the offseason? Center, guard, or tackle? Man, I was thinking about this today. I need them all. Honestly, you could get rid of all 5 guys, and I don't think you'd really miss anything. So, but of course, if you're drafting, you're going probably for tackle. But if they get a good center in the first, like round 2, I'd go for it because they need a center. Center is the core of your line in a way. And the guys they've had have just been getting hurt last few years. So I would go more center. And you can get guards in free agency more. Tackles are a little harder. Alexander, as Heineke stays over, well, he's a free agent after this season. They're not going to franchise him. That's way too much money. They might be willing to sell him, but sign him to another 2-year deal. Let's see if anybody else around the league steps in and says, "Oh, here's more money." Will they? I don't know, maybe. And we'll see what the next coaching staff is coming back, and who's coming back, or if they're not, the new ones, do they want them? Everything in the off season is completely up in the air. Everything about it. So you can conjecture, but knowing that they could change coaching staffs completely changes your personnel approaches about things. So I have no idea yet. We'll know a little more in a couple weeks. All right, Ryan says, do I think Washington wins on Sunday against the Browns? Yes. Oh, it might be interesting, though, if Deshaun Watson, could give him a hard game. Well, I think they'll win Cleveland. And that'll make them 8-7-1, so at least they'd have a non-losing season. So to put up a shut-up game for the playoffs, says Ryan, I would have said that this past 2 weeks, especially the Giants game. But the Giants game, as the NFL told the Commanders, oh, man, sorry, that last play, that was pass interference. Our bad. Okay, thanks for that. At least you admitted it. Did you sanction the refs? Did you do something to them? That kind of thing. Something? Can we have a public tar and feathering? It doesn't do any good, but whatever. Let's see. No one for Tampa. What's the number one priority in the draft? Well, they're probably going to pick, 18 to 21, somewhere in there. So you're not going to have that quarterback anyway. I think they got a lot of needs, so I don't really know yet. Joni Otto, why hasn't Rob picked up any free agent linemen or linebackers for a late season push? Probably just nobody out there they really think is worth doing. A lot of times in the last week of the season, you'll see them pick somebody up because they want to keep them on the carryover roster through the offseason until free agency at least. So sometimes they do that to tie up a guy. So it might happen. O-line has to be a priority, says Andorman 901. I think so too. I think your O-line's got to be it on there. Lawrence says the same. Ryan, I'd say top needs going are offensive line, CB, LB. Yeah, but suppose that Notre Dame tight end is there that everybody likes, because I don't know what's going on with Logan, but we really haven't seen anything in these 2 years because of injuries. But sometimes it just happens. So you got tight end there. Your quarterback. I don't know who quarterbacks this team next season. I don't know if they keep Heineke. I don't know if they resign. And Wentz could always stay for less money. They might do that. And if Ron's around still, they might do that. But there's those needs. They could use a little bit of everything, really. Okay, so Alexander thinks you have to draft a quarterback. Well, tell me who's there on the board. I don't know. It's a lot of risk. I'd like to see Howe. I don't know. They're not going to play Howe these last 2 games. I really don't see that happening. Partly because they still have playoffs. Let's say they lose this week. There's still a puncher's chance they could make it by beating Dallas. So I don't really see Sam playing. And then you got to guess on what he is. But Sam could be okay. I think I'd rather guess there than draft a guy first round, late round pick, unless you just think you got something. And I know everybody's thinking Lamar Jackson, you got to go. Well, I don't know. It's going to hurt. I'm not sure I'd want to spend it. Lamar Jackson's money is going to be insane, like $40 million a year if Ravens want to keep him. Let's see. Ryan, okay. Abdul says Wentz uses Logan Moore. He did. Oh, so Bob Baker's here. Okay, who do you like for the final playoff spot? Green Bay. I don't know. Maybe Minnesota can knock off Green Bay this time. Where is that game? I forget. Detroit really screwed themselves. I thought they were coming along. So Washington may keep it. Lawrence says it doesn't matter his quarterback if you can't protect him. Absolutely right. No one from Tampa. Would a new owner get Sean Payton's interest? Yeah, a lot of people, would like Sean Payton. That's going to be interesting. But is an owner placed to bid for him in time? I don't know. That's true. I think Sean Payton signs with a team the week after the season ends. So I'm not sure Washington can get him in time. That would be a good one, though. Let's see. Yeah, okay. All right, so let me just mention the DC Paws Rescue that I am sending all the thanks money tonight to the DC Dogs since this team's gone to the Dogs, whatnot. Now, I'm going to charities every Monday. You see the thanks button down the bottom. It's a free show. You get to talk to an insider that you don't get to do this too much about things. So throw in a couple bucks, and all this money that I get on Monday nights from now on and will be going to charities. So, and they're going to be local charities that help small groups. I'm going to try and maximize the money here on this. So, thank you, Steve. There he is, Wolf. If they make the Commanders the dog, chip in the money. But that's what it's for. It's not me, because you guys don't care if I make any money or not. So let's try and help out some of the charities. Try to do something good here. Be spending an hour with you guys, and not that I don't love you for nothing, but kick in a couple of bucks. It's Christmas time, tightwads. So throw in some money. All right, thanks, Steve. Okay, so Kira says, have to stick with Heineke, give him the first half. I don't know what else you have to stick with. I mean, it's not that he played so bad in San Francisco. It's one of these curious things. If he didn't play poorly, but they still needed to be changed, and both things can be true. And, I thought Wentz did okay on it. It's just sometimes you got to change your luck. Sometimes you change your socks, you change your patterns, you try and do something different. And I think that's part of what they're trying to do here. Bob says Peyton wants to go to one of the LA teams. Yeah, well, I heard Denver was trying to see about him coming there too, but they had Elway, so always a bigger deal in Denver than Peyton is. Mr. Cool is back. Do I trust Wentz as a starter? Yeah, he's okay. I mean, he's not great, but he's going to make mistakes too. People like Taylor. They like Taylor. He's a good guy, but there's nothing wrong with Wentz. I don't know why everybody suddenly lined up on him and said, give the guy a chance. Okay, and I know he played, so start, but he had some good games too. It's all about the line, man. If you got no line, you got no quarterback. Joe says Ron didn't have any options but to go with Heineke. Apparently the locker room wasn't happy. Nah, locker room doesn't decide this at this point. Ron decides what happens at this point because he's going to ride or die with his choice. So make it your choice. Can't go by polls. Could see Rivera stepping down if Washington loses the last two, says Outlaw King. I don't know if he steps down. A lot of money on the table. Might be willing to cut a deal on that. Who knows? But you don't usually walk away from millions of dollars. I don't get him. Spurrier did, but he knew he was going to college. He was going to make a lot of money there. No more Carolina guys this off season, says Sheldon. No. Okay. All right. Z's. It's all going to collapse. There you go. That's the spirit. Yeah, we're all going to hell. Here we go. Robert says, discuss it with Ron pulling Heineke. It wasn't going to win the game anyway, but you wanted to see what Wentz could do here. By the way, we haven't talked about Chase yet, and I saw Chase bat the ball. I saw him make a couple plays. That's a good positive start. At least he played, and he did some good things. That's a positive. Let's see. Ryan says, if Wentz plays and gets them into playoffs, I can see them running it back and building them on the roster. Yeah, but that money, man, they need to rework that deal. Maybe you make the last 2 years of his deal, maybe turn it into a 4-year deal, throw some more, and get that cap number down some. Ron said he pulled Taylor for preservation, says Anderman. People say a lot of things. Joe, if the real owner should over Ron a general manager job, if we had a real owner, he should have a GM over Ron, I guess, and find a head coach. Well, there we go. We'll see. Robert, Wentz is awful. No, it's not. It's awful. I mean, numbers. Listen, Heineke's numbers sometimes are much better than he plays. Just like this last game, he made some mistakes. Ball security is a big deal. It's not always his fault, but I don't know. Sometimes you got to go beyond the stats. Let's see. It's easy. Just another year of mediocrity until Snyder sells. It's the curse. Pretty much. Pretty much. Steve said, could we just pay Heineke and Jordan's? Well, better in crypto, huh? Who was that player that took all his salary in crypto? Dumb. I don't trust crypto at all. Sorry, I guess I'm old. I like money that's money, not made up pretend money. No, thank you. Glad I avoided that pit stop. Let's see. Oh, Sue took it. Okay, says ZZ. Yeah, dumb. I was dumb, in my opinion. Let's see. Joe, offer Ron a general manager spot. Oh, is what you meant. Okay. I think more of a team president spot as far as football operations. I know you have Jason on the financial end. I can see Ron being it for football in a way, but then he pick a coach that's like himself. And do you want that? I don't know. I mean, Ron has some positives, but there's also some negatives, which is why we're looking at a move. Okay, Ryan says, I believe Wentz would take a pay cut. Oh, have you talked to him? I don't know. I mean, you never know with guys, but you might say, well, in the market, I could get this. Well, I mean, we'll see what that number is. That it's enough to stay and not leave, but still take a cut. Players do sometimes, and sometimes they won't do it, and they'll go play elsewhere for less money just so they didn't have to take a cut where they stayed. And it's all about locker room credibility and that kind of stuff. So sometimes players kind of regret it, but it's all about saving face in the locker room, things like that. Michael, by the way, Michael says crypto's not legal tender. That's true, and I can't take crypto for the dog people because I don't know how to work it anyway. But if you want to donate to us, hit that thanks button, $2, $5, feed a dog, help these dogs find owners. I had a rescue league dog for 12 years. He was awesome. They're really worth it. Let's try and help them out. And all my charities every Monday will be local ones. So food banks, churches, whatever. I'm looking at several people have already sent to me. ZZ, sorry, I'm not starting now. Wentz is not going to take a pay cut. Michael said probably not. They'll probably part. Okay. So Tinsei Degu says if Wentz takes him to the playoffs, you don't have to go look for somebody. I don't know. Maybe. Ryan, I think Wentz will play well in these 2 games and get them in the playoffs. And if he does that and he has a decent playoff, they might keep him. But like I said, the money, they're going to make $26 million. Kind of hurts showing some on the cap. The cap's supposed to go up, I heard, $12 million. So that's going to help a little breathing room. But you've got guys like Daron Payne out there that want to get paid. So we'll see. Would you like to keep Daron Payne? Hal may just be what we need next year, says Steve. Could be. I mean, maybe he's the next Purdy. I mean, you got to see him out there to really know. But putting him out there now, like last game of the season against the Dallas, that might need to win that game, kind of an unfair test. Bob Baker says, any idea why Doc jumped into the hog lawsuit? Well, he's one of the hogs. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that lawsuit makes it to a courtroom, but I'm not a lawyer. But I just don't think so. And the team would be smart not to let it get to a courtroom. They might win in court, but they'll lose in public court. And that's what this team can't ever manage to get back is winning court of public opinion. Ryan says, Hal will compete next year for the starter, but not now. I agree with that. Patrick says, don't keep him. I assume Wentz. Yeah. Joe, go for Baker. Baker? I'm Baker Mayfield? Nah, I've seen Jay Schrader before. Didn't work out too well. Or Jeff George. Lawrence is already leaving. Happy New Year to you too. But still got another half hour. I'm not sure living somewhere weird. We have a lot of people in Europe that watch the show. And more people watch pretty much on replay than watch live. We have 42 live right now. That's a good crowd. So we'll see. Never take a pay cut working for Snyder, says Anderman. I'd never work for Dan Snyder. So even though they could use an elder statesman to keep them from doing dumb stuff. All right. Dan Snyder needs to keep blanking with history and tradition on his way out the door. I agree with that, Michael. Just, if you're leaving, just leave. Let the survivors figure it out. Patrick wants to keep Heineke, Hal, and draft another QB. It's possible, but I want to see where you're drafting and what's the lineup look like. And what's your new coach, if you have a new coach, what is their offense like? Tinsay, what do I think of Benjamin St. Juste versus the 49ers? I watched the game with family. It's hard. When you got grandkids running around, it's not as easy. But I don't like to work Christmas or Christmas Eve because I like to try and listen. My family has had to sacrifice many times when I've had to, be at games. And I've been a sports writer for 44 years, and I'm near the end, and I want to, not pick work over family all the time. So I didn't watch this game so tightly I could give you an answer to that. I'm sorry. I watched the replay this morning, but I can't really judge this one. Robert says Jay Schrader got him to the Super Bowl when he get injured. No, not really. He got him to the playoffs. And then Doug did the last game of the season and then the playoffs, which is a big surprise. Can we all agree not to mention Jeff George again? Says Steve. I only mention him badly. I don't. I don't say anything nice about him. Boy, he was rough to cover. Just disrespectful guy. Which what we call a jerk. Ryan, pretty sure Dan's on his way out. Yeah. Could he get sold by February? I think he could have a deal by February. ZZ kicked in some money for the dogs. Thank you, ZZ. See, $5. $5. Come on. Got to help these dogs out. These little charities every week that I'm going to do. Hey, maybe I only hand them a $50 bill from you guys collectively, and I throw in some money or whatever. It's money they don't have, and they're charities that could use it. And the last 2 weeks, we raised money for Toys for Tots. So some kids got presents on Christmas, thanks to you guys. And we had a food bank the week before we donated money to. So people ate. And I worked at a turkey giveaway for a church, and I delivered 16 turkeys with a buddy. We drove them to places. People were, thrilled to get food. So, it's nice to help people out. Can't be selfish all the time. You got to think about others occasionally. So, all right, Liberty and Hercules. Ooh, like that name. Do you think Wentz should have went in? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were drowning quickly. And if you had him on deck and you wanted to use him, now's the time. I figured that would happen. I thought it would happen in the third quarter, but it happened in the fourth. Yeah, sometimes you just got to make the change. You can't be afraid of that. Mr. Pierce, Garnett, Allen, I don't know. I'm sorry, dude. Are the Vikings our best shot at winning round one of the playoffs? Well, it ain't the 49ers, I'll tell you that one. So I guess they'd probably play Minnesota otherwise. Sure. Thank you, Bob. Liberty and Hercules agrees with base. Patrick. Oh, something happened on Patrick's. All right, Robert. Now they start a quarterback controversy in the midst of trying to do a playoff run. Why not? The Doug Williams thing. Doug's played the last game of the season in '87 because Jay was kind of banged up. And then when they started the first round of the playoffs, Gibbs says, I'm going to stay with Doug. And it's like, what? Wait a minute. I thought he was playing one game. This guy's played all season, done well for you. Well, it worked out. So you can't be afraid to make change. That's Joe Gibbs did that, and it worked out and got a title. So, Robert, I guess I'll bow to Joe on this one. All right, David, well, Merry Christmas to you, too. Oh, your brother gave you a book for Christmas. You don't get along, huh? Okay, well, I'm kidding. Thanks. I'm glad you got the book. Not many people did. Commander's book didn't sell very well. People don't like the name, I think. Let's see. Ryan, do you think Scott Turner's a good play caller? No. I think he is okay. I think he's okay, but I don't think he's adjusted well to situations at times. And I don't think Del Rio does real well at that, too. They just don't seem to be good to counterpunch. Joe Gibbs could be beating somebody 30-0 at halftime, and if he wanted at halftime, go over and get that team instead and use them that time and beat his own team. If that makes any sense, he beat you with his. He could beat you with yours. I mean, he could just do it all, and I don't see that with this staff. Why didn't Ron get help or bring in other people for the OL? I mean, you do the best you can, but they didn't have the money. I don't think they had the money in the free agent budget, which now we know they are selling. I think that was a big problem in free agency the last couple of years. They didn't have the money to really go get what they wanted. Okay, ZZ kicked in $10 for the Pooches. Well, way to go. Thanks. So far, you're the dog of this whole thing. That's right. Dogs rule, people drool. Yeah. I want to get a new dog. I've just moved to a new house, and I'm thinking by spring. I haven't had a dog in a few years since my beloved golden retriever died. So I'm bracing my wife for a new dog. I think if it's a boy dog, I'm going to call him Roscoe. And if it's a girl dog, I'll get Madeline. Or I might get two dogs so that they each have each other to have friends. And I don't know. A good dog, man, a good dog is a great thing in life. I'm not a cat person. But dogs are great. That's why we're collecting money to try to help the DC Paws rescue people. And you can go to their website directly. Just type Google DC Paws rescue, and it'll take you to a site. You can donate direct if you like. Patrick says the team adjustments, the coaching staff aren't great. I agree with it all the way. Rogelio Tamayo. I studied Spanish 7 years. I used to be able to speak halfway decently. But he says, playoffs, ha, ha, ha. No translation there. I get what you're saying. But I don't know. I think they could win Cleveland and maybe they get in. All right. I think they need to run the ball more quick passes to get the ball out quick, says Ryan. Absolutely on that. I mean, that's a no-brainer in my opinion. Quick tempo offense, run the ball, get going, quit screwing around and trying to overthink things. And I think that is Scott Turner's problem. He overthinks it too much. Vince Lombardi had 3 running plays, left, right, and center. Can you beat me? And most people couldn't. He didn't sit there and worry about all this newfangled BS. He went out there and kicked your butt. And that's what they should be trying to do. James, thank you, man. Appreciate it. Bow, wow, wow, yippee, yo, taye, something like that. Yeah, thank you. It's nice to help the dogs. It's a couple bucks, but that's a meal or two for some dog out there. And this group could use the money. That's why I'm donating to small groups that can use. And we're not going to get a whole lot of money here, but we're going to get something, and it'll help. Versus some big company that will just suck it all up in the next martini lunch. I like small charities more. Thank God for big charities, cancer research people and all, but our money get lost in the ether there. Let's see. Do I think Heineke's improved from last year? Asked Kevin. Absolutely. I think his arm strength is better. He throws a better ball. He doesn't take as many negative plays. I think he has improved. But what is his upside? How much more is there? I'm not sure what that is. But he's given them everything he could. And whenever his days here are over, people will remember him very fondly. Michael, Russ Grimm is a beast. People ask me all the time who was my favorite player to cover. It might have been Grimm. I don't know. It all melts together after all these years. But definitely Grimm was one of my favorites. I liked him as a coach, too. We'd be at Frostburg, and the coaches had a bar that they went to. The players had a bar they went to. I went to both of them. Russ used to get behind the bar in Frostburg and pour beer free and never charge. He'd pay everybody. He'd pay everybody's beer tab. So you got to like that. Russ was a good guy. But Dan Snyder didn't like him because Russ was a rough kind of guy, and Dan he didn't understand football. That's what happened there. Should have picked him to be the head coach here at one time. Ryan, watching the 49ers offense makes me miss Kyle Shanahan. I didn't miss Kyle Shanahan. I think he's a smart guy. He's obviously bred to be this with his father, He was a young guy here, and he thought he was entitled to more than he had earned at that point. But he's earned it now in San Francisco. He's proven himself there. And he's older and all. But my experience personally with him was blah. Steve, ceiling is the roof. I agree. All right. Let's see. Tuesday. Merry Christmas back to you, too. Appreciate you coming. Bob says that does Saxon win Rookie of the Year? Probably because the team is only going to be mediocre, in the end. And they always like to pick guys on the really big teams. Not always. He's got the touchdowns. And I think if he hadn't missed, what did he miss, 5 games? I think if he hadn't missed his 5 games, and the team had paid attention to him better some other games. He's been a great pick for them, in my opinion. Johnny Otto, $5, thank you, helping the puppies. Who doesn't like dogs? Come on, if you're not going to donate money to dogs, that's not American. Something like that. Whatever it takes you to throw some money in the pool. Like I said, I get none of this. I will hand it all. I'll donate it tomorrow morning to the DC Paws Rescue people. They have an online site. Just Google it. You can see it. You can donate money directly and grab a tax receipt. But I know the new tax laws don't help tax write-offs as much for some people because they have these high limits about things. The tax law changes a couple years ago really ruined tax donations for most people. And so, I donate to things. I don't even keep a receipt anymore because I can't write it off. Kind of sucks for these people. All right, James. If Kyle had not been Mike's son, would he have been the next Skins coach back in the day? No, I don't think so. I just don't think he was ready at that point. He was getting there, but I don't think he was quite ready. He's done a decent job in San Francisco. Hasn't been all roses, but he's done as well as any. I mean, look at McVay. McVay's finally getting the downside of, he goes to LA, they're great, and you think, well, this guy, but you don't win every year, man. Even great coaches have a bad year. Look at Belichick's having a bad year. And maybe the greatest coach the game's ever known, or he had the greatest player, whatever. We can argue that. But, McVay's going to see that sometimes you don't make it, you don't get it right either. It happens. So we'll see. All right, let's see. Oh, caught up. Okay. All right. So thanks to everybody who's been donating money. We said since the show rotates, most people watch 10 to 15 minutes on there. So I'll start over where I was. All right. So here's a Christmas present: Virginia peanuts with Maryland Old Bay. Us Marylanders, we're glad to help you guys in Virginia find your potential. So I have tried these; they're good. A little, they're not too spicy. Old Bay is awesome. It's not overpowering. It's good, but it doesn't make you go, like that. Don't do. Somebody just froze the screen. It's gonna make an emoji out of that. Let's see. This team needs a real Commanders coach, not a Commanders/Panthers coach, Paul. I know, but I guess it's time to quit saying stuff about Carolina. It's been 3 years now. All right, David asked a Chase Young question. Wow. Okay, people are finally doing Chase Young again. I didn't watch every down, but I liked what I saw of that because I'm looking at several things. But I think it was great. I was really thinking he wasn't going to play this year. So nice to see him step up, help the team. Liberty thinks the Cowboys game will be epic. I think it's going to be 50,000 Cowboys fans and 10,000 Commanders fans. Hate to tell you, but I've seen it before. See it again. Bob says he heard from a friend in Leesburg that Loudoun County is interested in helping to build a new stadium around Ashburn when Danny sells. That's right. When Danny sells, all those politicians that ran away from him are now going to run toward, well, let's say Bezos or whoever, because they see economic development. And I recently wrote about how Bezos would be the right person to get the RFK site back because he has the wherewithal to give the federal government and the city government things that they want aside, where Dan Snyder was just like, all the money's mine. Big difference there. Virginia dinner. Don't know where it is. No. As a matter of fact, that's what we were talking. I was talking about this earlier. I don't know what this is. Virginia diner. Yeah, where is that, Kevin? You can fill me in on this. Ryan, I think Washington plays well versus the Browns and Cowboys. The offense will be better. Well, can't be much worse. They didn't score a lot of points. Everybody wants to talk about Ryan, but they don't score a lot of points. That's part of the whole thing. Should the Commander stick with Taylor's just because of his dog mentality? Ask, Well, he's, I love his dog mentality. I like this kid. I do not like to say bad things, but it's the truth. If you want to hear the truth, if you want to do the PR channel, go over there and watch them talk. But I just don't think at this point. I always thought Taylor was a good spot starter and a good reliever, and he's got a lot of upsides on things. But in the end, you want to upgrade. That's true on a lot of players on this team. A whole offensive line, who wouldn't you upgrade on? Off of this year, I'd take 5 new guys if you could. If you get 3, that's pretty good. It's hard to flip a line. Linemen are not easily come loose. Any good ones, teams keep good ones. So it's not easy prying anything away. DJ, there you go, back. Thinks Washington spent big on offensive line. There you go. It came along just as I was talking about it. IRL is dead, says the Cowboys might drop 50. Don't think so. That game, I wonder if that game's going to get flexed to the night game. Don't know yet. Won't know until next Monday. So it's a possibility because right now it's January 7th or 8th. A lot of people put down the 8th, but the schedule says 7th or 8th. So we really don't know when they're playing yet. They can play Saturday night. I don't know. But night games mean I go to bed at 2 a.m. So I'd like a day game, please. Let's see. Sheldon's back. Okay. Ask Brian if you had a choice to do it ever again. You take Justin Herbert over Chase Young. I would say he would say no. You make your decisions and you live with them. Liberty. I think I should pick Lamar. Lamar's got a lot of upside. I just worry about the injuries this year, and he's had some before. But the money's going to be outrageous. If Baltimore wants to keep him, it's going to cost around $40 million. So if they don't franchise him, and they might do the transition tag, and then you've got to pay compensation for him. I don't know, man. It's a lot. It's a lot. All right, Ryan. I think a lot of people love Heineke because of how fun he plays. Yeah, but also have to look at what's being left out on the field, and I agree with that. And a lot of points are left out on the field. DJ, why do people have hope in Heineke when he can't throw the ball and put points on? See, I mean, there you go. It's just like this all the time. It's with a real polarizing kind of player in some respects. Not because of anything he does, but the fans. All right, Kevin tells me Virginia dinner is in Wakefield, Virginia. Where's that? You enjoy the ride out there, but you might have to wait for a table. It's worth it. Where is Wakefield, Virginia? Yeah. I'm in Maryland, so I'm sorry. I drive out to Redskin Park. It's the weirdest thing. I don't know if everybody watching lives in this area, but Maryland and Virginia don't meet each other. It's just that we both stay on our own side of the river, pretty much. Might venture into D.C. a little bit. But most people, Virginia and Maryland don't have anything the other doesn't, pretty much. I mean, Maryland's got a big casino on the border, so you can come over from there to see that. Virginia's got Mount Vernon. We don't have that. But, I mean, by and large, you want to go out to dinner, you got the same stuff they've got. There's nothing different. So that's why people don't cross over as much. And things can be a little different on each side of the river. It's kind of strange, but it's not like we're in foreign countries or anything. But we do like to tease each other a little bit. Why not? It's all in good fun. Okay, Ryan, I truly believe if Wentz goes out this week and throws 3 touchdowns, and all people will be all on him again. Probably. That bandwagon, man. There's always empty seats ready to be filled. Michael, it's not just a straight shot across the river. Especially from Southern Maryland, where I live. Sure, I have to go up to Wilson Bridge. And Wilson Bridge, for those of you who don't live around here, is a big pain in the butt. And they built a brand new one about 15 years ago, maybe now. Still a big pain in the butt because of growth. Let's see. Yeah, the helicopter thing. I agree. Bob, when are you staying the God question videos? Oh, yeah, so Bob's asking about a new series that will be coming out soon. I'm working on it. 52 Questions with God. We're going to have it on YouTube, where I talk to a minister every week about a question for God. All right, here's a question for God. The Bible talks about there's no sex in heaven, but there's something better. All right, I'd like to talk about that. What you got? But that'll be, and I tell ministers, you can't be throwing Bible verses at me and dogma. It's a real conversation. It's only going to be 10, 15 minutes. And it's things that you wish that they would give sermons about that they never do. Especially if you go to some churches, they say the same thing all the time. So, I'm not a reverend. I'll let them do the talking. Let's see. And we're going to do a pizza show for those of you. Got some sports writers, old guys, and I. We're going to go to pizza places and see some really great pizza around the Washington area, and do short shows and talk about pizza and eat it and talk about whatever. So that's coming too. That way I can write off pizza for a tax write-off. All right. Well, DJ asked, why is everybody excited to face the Vikings? I think because the Vikings have been narrowly winning. Hey, give them credit. They're winning games, but they always seem to barely win games. It's not like it's, the 85 Bears kicking your butt. So that's why people see a good team is vulnerable. You go for them. Let's see, DJ. This is the playoff spot. We currently said, yeah. Michael, we can also go south through Virginia and then back north. Either way, the drive's a hassle. Well, if you go down south to 301 to cross into Virginia, Wilson Bridge, it's the next one down, the 301 bridge. They call it Harry Nice. They just opened a brand new one about a month ago. Brand new one. The last one, FDR dedicated. So that's going to help a lot. In the summertime, you want to do traffic, go down 301. All right. Ryan says, should be a good crowd versus Browns. I don't think so. I think it's going to be like 40. I mean, they've been doing 60 this year, a lot of games. So that would be less than normal. I don't know what kind of Browns crowd they'll be. I know they have a lot of fans, that are what do you call them, legendary fans or legacy fans. But I covered the 2 big AFC championship games Cleveland lost, where Elway beat them twice. I covered both of those. And who in the stands at Cleveland was throwing snowballs down at the crowd and reporters from the dog pound? But a certain reporter who now works for ESPN covering this team, one of my best friends, was a teenager then throwing snowballs at me. I'm talking about John Keim. But he lived in Cleveland, and Nothing personal. You missed me, by the way. All right. Let's see. You went in on the pizza show, Bob. All right, well, Bob, if you're up here, you can be on the pizza show. Maybe that's what we'll do with raise money. You can come be on the pizza show. I got a couple of good-looking pizza places. That's my only vice. I've tried to change my diet a lot, but I do like to eat pizza here and there. Sue me. DJ, Washington has to run the ball to get the pass open for Carson. Yes, but they have some good runners. I mean, Brian Robinson, I think, has been lately what I expected him to be. 49ers faithful forever. 49 fan here, love Brian Robinson. Well, thanks. I love San Francisco. Awesome place. If I had $1 billion and wanted to live somewhere, I'd live in San Francisco. It's an awesome city. Even though Washington's my hometown, I'm a sixth-generation Washingtonian, and I enjoy my hometown, but there are other places that are awesome too. Mojo, Wentz is Ron's guy. Absolutely. Would I prefer how to start? Not at this point. I don't know that we really see anything that's going to make a difference. Let's see, Ryan. I expect a good run game against Cleveland and Dallas. I would think they probably will try it. Dallas might put up a little bit more of a fight. Okay, Liberty says, my wife and I just subbed to you, Rick. Like the content. Okay, I'm not sure what that means. What are the kids calling subbing now? Maybe I shouldn't ask. Something like that. All right, Don says, Virginia Diners on 460. Where's that? Which part of Virginia is it near? Tell me what nearest big city it is. Is it 100 miles from south of Richmond? I don't know. Have I ever put Old Bay on pizza, Steve says. No, I have not. I put it on my ice cream sundaes. They have them down here, and it is pretty good. The problem with the Browns game is that Sunday night loss in New York was so deflating, Fairweather fans will watch on TV. Nothing surprises me about that. Let's see, Michael says, Hal's also Ron's guy, yeah. And the next guy may not have any interest in him. Yeah, it's true too. Let's see, Ryan says, Dallas most likely will rest their starters. Well, it just depends on where they are. They probably won't need this game, but I'm not positive yet. Okay, Liberty says he's subscribed to the page. Okay, when you were subbing, I didn't know what that meant. What the heck? What are the kids calling it now? But okay. The other side might have been interesting too, but that's a different channel. If some of you guys have noticed, I had another bad week picking games on beating the books. So I lost my shirt again this coming Saturday, and I only share from here up for those of you who haven't seen the show. But you have an imagination. And it gets 6 times more clicks than a normal beating the books show where I pick all the NFL games on Saturdays. Why? I don't know. I can't go below here because I have a huge open heart surgery scar that you don't want to see from many years ago. It's kind of faded, but you don't want to see that. So we only go from here up, and I like my shoulders. I'm okay. It's fun. What can we say? We're having some fun. I'm having some fun at the end of my career. I was this big, hard case, serious journalist for so long. Now at the end of my career, and next week will mark my 45th year covering sports. Hopefully I'm there, knock on wood. I'm having some fun on the way out the door. I don't know when I'll ever leave. I decided since Dan was leaving that I'd stay. I was thinking about retiring. But with him gone, this will get fun again. So I'm going to stick around. And I plan on doing shows. People ask me after the season ends. I think we'll keep doing Monday night shows as long as people want to watch. And we'll keep doing the fundraising aspect of it so that money flows out there a little bit. All right. Do I think most NFL owners want Dan out? Right. I think most of them don't really pay much attention to it. And some of them do, and some of them don't. I don't know anybody that really wants him to stay. But most of them don't care. Let's see. Steve says, shirtless Rick still shocks me every second I see it. Yeah, me too, really. My daughter saw it the other day and gave me hell for that. What are you doing? I said, well, you can only see literally from like right here up. I mean, if they saw this scar, if they saw the scars I have lower down on me from other surgeries, ooh, man, I look like, the Mississippi River full of scars. You don't want to see that. Let's see. Marcel. That was my dad's name, Marcel. What's the top priority for the team to improve in the offseason? I'd like to say the line, but the line's 5 guys, and it's hard. You're talking multiples. If you're talking one position, Um, I mean, quarterback, obviously. If after that, maybe tight end, if I was talking about one guy, one position on there. Maybe middle linebacker. Depends on what defense the team's going to play. Never give up. There you go. I believe in that. The Commanders should have stuck with Kirk Cousins. Yeah, but Bruce screwed it up so bad that Kirk knew he could get out of there and make even more money, which he has. And he's had his own success out there, so good for him. But that's on Bruce. And so was Trent Williams. Have I ever had any interactions with other NFL owners? Absolutely, Ryan. There were times I used to cover the league meetings, and so I know a bunch of them. Know some of them personally over the years. Some of them have now gone. I've been around longer than dirt, so yeah, I've known. One of my favorites was Dan Rooney of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was an awesome guy. He's passed away. I really enjoyed him. Kraft was kind of an interesting guy. Al Davis was a big time jerk, but no surprise there. He would wear his Elvis pantsuits and all at the meetings. Interesting on there. Let's see. Liberty says safeties need improvement. That would not be top of my list on there. They've done okay. Let's see. Mojo, do I think the Hogs should embrace being the team's mascot? I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but they want to get paid somehow. Everybody wants to get paid. I want to get paid, but sometimes you let things go for the greater good. But they don't see Dan Snider benefiting from it as the right person to benefit from it. Michael, Jerry's kids takes on a different meaning after you met them. Okay, well, I don't know what that is, Michael. I'm not going to think hard on that one. Steve Bisciotti seems like a great owner. Okay, Ryan. So I'm covering Maryland basketball one year, and Bisciotti had like dream seats right next to the press at midcourt. There was three of us that sat at midcourt back then, and Bisciotti sit next to us, and he'd be asking about the scores, and he'd want to come over and look at the monitors and see the box scores. But he seemed like a pretty decent guy, but he got mad at a Baltimore Sun reporter one night. Damn near came to blows at midcourt because he gave that guy crazy. And the guy, Gary, was the reporter. It was not somebody you messed with. And Gary almost took him out. So it was interesting. I've seen these guys, man. I've seen a lot of them have a drink. Let's see. Bob's got to go. All right. Sorry, Bob. But I always appreciate you coming by, too. Deshaun McWhorter. How likely is the team trades up for first-round QB? Tell me who owns the team. Tell me who's coaching. And then I can tell you that. That's a February, March question. Sorry. It's just being honest. Don, the O-line's the biggest issue to fix. Yeah, they lost 2 Pro Bowlers. I mean, yeah, you had 2 first-round picks that were good players, and they screwed it up and lost them. Steve says, I used to love watching Lefty stomping. Yeah, Lefty Drizel, still alive, lives down Virginia Beach. And I haven't talked to him in about a year, but great guy. Yeah, he was a lot of fun to cover, too. I covered Lefty. Covered the day he had to leave, too. That was all. But covered the Len Bias thing. Whew. Len Bias thing was a mess. And I covered Lenny in high school, too. I'm that old. I covered him at Northwestern High for a year. And then when he died, I wasn't covering Maryland at the time, but they said, hey, we need you to go cover this story. I got my butt kicked every day for 6 months and learned how to be a real reporter and kick somebody else's butt instead of them kicking mine. It taught me a lot about that. But Bias would have been a great player. Let's see. And Jay Bias also. I covered Jay a little bit. But Lenny was just an amazing. Lenny, his first year at Maryland wasn't very good because he had no off-ball skills, but he learned them. He spent the summer in the gyms and made a difference. And his mom, about a year or so ago, I was talking to her at a meeting, and she said, one thing I learned stuff about Len Bias every year. Every year somebody says something to me from that because I, like the only guy left, practically covered that. And Mrs. Bias said Len's plan was to marry Whitney Houston. And I said, he would have been an NBA player. He probably would have had a shot. She wasn't married at the time. I'd say give it a shot. That would have been pretty cool. But that was Len's dream, to marry Whitney Houston. She would have been better off with him. Let's see. Ryan says it's crazy about Trent. Yeah, I just let him walk away. If he goes to the Hall of Fame, I guarantee he's not wearing a Redskins hat. Was Bias the best player at Maryland? Asked Steve. One of them. I mean, that's a long list of people. that are great. Yeah, McMillan and Elmore way back in the day. There's so many good players at Maryland over the years. I've watched Maryland basketball for about 50 years now. God, it's sad, scary when you can say that. All right, whatever happened to Lenny's nephew? Um, don't know, James. I can't remember that. Let's see. Len was LeBron James before LeBron. I don't know if I quite say that because, for one thing, I think LeBron James is the best pure passer I have ever seen. He's awesome off ball skills. I mean, he's a great scorer too, but I'm amazed at his passing. I'm not sure Len was that good at something like that. Well, Lefty got the shaft, says never give up. Absolutely. Um, and they should name the place after Gary Williams. Absolutely. Because he won a title too. I mean, Lefty got close. They were both great coaches in different ways. Lefty was a great recruiter. Gary was a great game strategist. You could merge the two of them together. You'd have John Wooden and 12 titles, or whatever, on there. It was interesting. I enjoyed Lefty's teams. They were interesting, if nothing else. And Gary's were great. And I covered Gary as a beat writer one time for a couple of years after I got sick about 20 years ago. And I got to know him, and he was an intense dude. But, as crazy as Gary could get, it was like you go to the locker room going, okay, here we go. Like a light switch. And he'd be totally calmed down. That was so weird. Lefty should be in the Hall of Fame. Michael says, absolutely agree with that. I mean, he went several places and did well. So I don't know why they didn't. Len Bias was not his fault. Ryan, when Dan first bought the team, it didn't take too long to notice that it wasn't going to be successful. He didn't know any better. Dan doesn't know anything about football, honestly. He's a businessman. That's a big mistake a lot of owners make. They think they know what they're doing in their real life. They don't know anything about football. Football is its own world. And you should respect people who dedicate their life to it to know what they're doing. And if they don't, then you fire them and get somebody new. Steve, it's a shame the tournament only allowed one team from the conference when Lenny had his best years. Yeah, and he won the NIT one year, back when the NIT was a really big deal. And they were one of the best teams in the country. They lost the ACC title, and they didn't have that large teams way back in the day. But they lost to David Thompson and NC State, and that was one of the great games ever. But Lefty knew how to bring in players. I can't believe we're talking this much about Lefty. It shows you about Commanders. I'm going to talk about anything. We said, it's almost 9 o'clock. So anybody been holding back a couple bucks in their pocket, you want to hit the thanks button. Money goes to DC Paul's Rescue, which is going to help the pooches out. I'm working on a list of local charities. If you have someone you want to mention that is a grassroots kind of charity, a food bank or something, needs some help, we'll put them on the list for donations every Monday. So if you're watching on replay every Monday, 8 to 9, we're here. We're going to do a charity every week to donate all the thanks money. Ryan, if only Jack Kent Cook kept the team. Well, you mean John. And John didn't really want it. That's the story that people don't believe. But John really wanted his inheritance, didn't want the team. Of course, I don't think he realized how much the team would be worth. Nobody did. But John really wasn't that serious about it because John had people begging him to be partners. I've heard from these people, and they said John wasn't interested. And he never really made a bid. He just helped drive up the price so his 10% was bigger. That's what he inherited of it all. How many coaching vacancies will be available after the season? Well, there's at least 3. So I would say 6 or 7, probably. I know Hackett was cut today by Denver. Firing a coach 2 weeks ago doesn't do you any good. It just causes chaos in the building. I thought you must just ride with them, start your list. You're not going to sign anybody else before them. Let's see. Michael says, any place that gets the homeless out of the cold right now would be worth a donation. True. The city government puts a lot of money into the homeless. And a lot of people who are homeless who live outside, it's not because there isn't room at the shelters or whatever. They just don't want to go in. And some of these people have mental illness problems, and they try to get them in, and they're afraid to. They don't want to. So the city is tried. But I'm all for donating. Some weeks we'll do food banks to help the homeless, things like that. Glad to do that. Who should start at quarterback this week? Mikey Bombers asked. I would say Carson Wentz. I think you change your luck here. You got to do something different, and it's not working. They haven't won in a month. November, I had to look it up. November 27th was the last win. So they're going to go, and they have, of course, they have 1 week off, but, they're 0-2-1 in December. Not how you get into the playoffs. Who do you get the next 2 weeks? Heineke or Wentz? Yes, never give up. Wentz. I think you go Wentz. This is the guy you brought in here. He's now healthy. Take a shot. Didn't look bad. His release. I know people want Taylor, but they're not getting there with Taylor. When does Ron have his press conference? Tuesday. Normally they're off Tuesdays, but because the schedule is a little different because of the holiday. He'll have one tomorrow at 1:30, and then he has it after practice on Wednesday, Thursdays around 1 o'clock. And Friday, I'm not sure what that is. We'll see. Saturday, they play. They play on Sunday. Saturday, there's no media. Friday, there's usually brief. Thursdays are the coordinators. So Ron doesn't talk on Thursdays. No, it's the same thing every week. I think I'd have it committed to memory. All right. So Bonafide Picker just came in. Bonafide, where you been? Does Ron survive coach another year? Don't know. Tell me who owns the team. Let's see. Steve says, what kind of dog do you want? I had a golden retriever, and I love that dog. Those are the best dogs in the world. But we're thinking about a Bernese Mountain Dog, the smaller version, not the big ones. If you don't know what those are, they're like St. Bernards. But I think about getting that or maybe a Corgi. I've never had one of those, but they look kind of fun. So I want a dog that's not a big pain in my butt. Let's start with that. And I've just bought a place with 3 acres, so I can't fence it for him. And my friend said, you get the electronic fence. And my other friend said, well, yeah, but sometimes you get a dog that just says, I'll pay the price and run through that thing, get zapped. And we have a lot of deer around here. I know the dog would just run off with the deer. So I don't know what I'm doing yet. But I like them in and out of the house. I like dogs to be fun, go play ball. I've got grandkids we can play with. I want a dog that says, let's go have fun. That's what I like about dogs. Dogs say, I love you. Let's have some fun. Cats say, bleh, who cares about you? So that's why I'm a dog guy. All right. I know Rob says Dale got us the team this far, but sometimes you got to make a change. Ryan thinks Ron survives. I don't know. Right now, I'd say yes, but we'll see. What time? Let's see. Rogelio's in Hawaii. Oh, you poor guy. Prayers for you. Are you in the military? It's only 4 o'clock there. All right. Well, I got news for you. I'm 5 hours ahead of you, and it's dark here. I haven't been to Hawaii. I've missed 5 states so far. And next summer, I'm going to go traveling again after all these COVID wars. I want to go out and see the world again. Been to 21 countries and 45 states. I'm missing Alaska, Hawaii, Nebraska, Iowa, and Vermont for some reason. I guess I'm afraid of Bernie. But I want to get to Hawaii at some point and maybe then go to New Zealand because New Zealand's a long ways away. So if you're in Hawaii, you're halfway there kind of from the East Coast. So that's my plan. So might take a break this summer to go do that. Maybe we'll do the show live from New Zealand or something. Or I can go get Chad from Australia and we'll do it from there. That would be fun. Might do that. That would be fun. Chad's a fun guy. Some of you see him on Twitter. Bonafide, get a lab. They're goofy. Labs are nice. But like I said, pain in the butt. And Jack Russell Terrier, says Peter. They're a little small for me. Although corgis are too. All right, Michael says, Newfoundland, you can ride it across the river. Yeah, those are big dogs. I'm not sure I want quite that big a dog anymore. But we'll find something. Someone says when we want to go play ball, when we want to go do something. My last dog I got 6 months after I'd had open heart, and he and I sat together on the floor recovering. He was perfect. I called him Rudy, and he was a perfect dog. Never gave me a moment of trouble. Unfortunately, they all passed away eventually. So we'll see. That's why I'm collecting money for Paul, DC Paul's. I saw one of the dogs on their site, and I was like, I wouldn't mind having this dog. I got to protect myself at times. Let's see. Ryan says, Hopefully I can get into the playoffs. Sounds like you're leaving. I guess I'm leaving too. It's 9:05. So, yeah, we talked about everything. We talked about peanuts. Any of you guys coming in late? Got my moonshiner's hat for Christmas. Got to get the thing. Got to get an insert to fill it, but can't decide which way to put it yet. Does Digger on moonshiners wear it better than I do? No, I wanted a new cap because sometimes you just can't wear a ball cap, and when you don't have much hair, sometimes you got to wear something, or you get burned in the summer or cold in the winter. So I don't know. Also, if any of you out there coming to Washington, you want to do tours, I'm a licensed DC tour guide for 12 years. So I'm starting again Wednesday. I'm taking people out. Thank God I didn't do it over the weekend when it was a polar bear weather. Whew, was it cold. We get that every few years in DC. You get a 10-degree day. Luckily, no snow. Let's see. Michael says, playoffs, we're just trying to win a game. Yeah, but if you win the game, you get to the playoffs. Maybe. Yeah, can't all live in Hawaii, by the way. As they say, 90 degrees is hot, but you don't have to shovel anything. Put it that way. All right. Last call for everything. Thank you all for coming. If you're watching on replay, Rick Snider's Washington will be starting again in just a couple minutes. If you want to watch the beginning of the show, it just runs. More people watch on replay during the week than live. Seasons of Discontent will be on Tuesday, my podcast with my partner, Matt, and we will do Tuesday and Friday, I think, this week. Matt was imbibing in the Christmas cheer too much, I think. Nah, I don't know. He had family to do. Thanks, Steve, for coming. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks to Sean. It's my romper room goodbye to everybody on this. I appreciate everybody coming because it's not like the team's winning big right now, but I appreciate good fans that like to just talk about the team or whatever else in a rational format on this. So you can see my shows around 6 a.m. and around 6 p.m. I auto time them for 6 a.m. I'm not up that early normally. Although last night, anybody else get that Amber Alert? 4:30 in the morning, my cell phone goes crazy. It's an Amber Alert, middle of the night. I guess they had to do what they had to do, but woke me up on there. Rahelia, thank you for coming by. So, and like I said, if you want to donate to DC Paws, you can go to their website, just Google it, and help them out too. We always appreciate it. Next week, we'll see who we name as that charity. And, Michael says a terrible Washington team still beats the Dallas. Yeah, being a Dallas fan, they got their things, we got ours. What can I tell you? All right, so I guess we are done. I'm Rick Snider for Rick Snider's Washington. Thanks for coming, everybody. I'll see you next Monday night for that and during the days for different ones. All right, everybody. Bye. Thanks for donating everything.